Welcome into week 17 of NFL football and this week 17 edition of the Money Down NFL show presented by BetPrep right here on the Draft Network YouTube channel with me, Jaime Eisner, and Brentley Weissman, who you all can see on the screen. This is a show that you all want to watch before placing your NFL bets this week on spreads or over/under on game totals. And with that, I hope you all had a wonderful start to 2022. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I hope you guys see the sequin I'm wearing for you guys to welcome you all to 2022 and here on the Money Down NFL show. And with that, I hope you all had a great week of college football bowl games. Also, I hope that kept you happy as we had a week with no Thursday night NFL football. I know, sad face, boo hoo hoo. But even more importantly this week, I think we had a chance to pay tribute to some greats that we lost. Rest in peace to Dan Reeves and, of course, John Madden, as the football world lost two iconic legends in the game. So definitely want to pay respects to that. And look, also we have so many questions as we look ahead to today's games. Could the Seattle Seahawks home finale today potentially be the last time Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson work together at Lumen Field? And is this Big Ben's last ride? Brentley and Jaime, just so many storylines to follow this week with football. But first, how was your New Year's, fellas? I hope you guys had some good resolutions, and maybe some of those resolutions included winning big today, winning some big money, right? Some big cash today. Jaime, how was your New Year's?
It was good. Kept it low key. Won some money yesterday. Made up for all the money I lost on New Year's Eve by making it up on New Year's Day. So in a way, I'm way up this year. So this is great. That's the mental game I'm going to play with this. But I'm really excited. There's a lot. We were talking in the pre-show. There's a lot of really, really fun NFL games today. I am really excited for what should be a nice little slate of games, especially with the split 9 early, 5 late. There's going to be a lot of football action all day long.
Yes, very good planning on the NFL's part. I mean, like you said, good football that all of us will be glued to the TV watching because so many playoff implications happening today and some teams looking to clinch a spot into the postseason as they're hoping to win their divisions. Brentley, how was the new year? How's your 2022 started?
It's going well, Kelsey. No L's so far, which is all we can ask for, and hopefully that continues today. But as you and Jaime mentioned, just there's so many good games on today, so many games that have big time playoff implications. I'm stressed. I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to watch them all, but that's a good problem to have. So really excited for today's slate of games.
We can't have you stressed, Brentley, all right? We're going to hopefully ease some of that tension on today's show as we break down the NFL games. And also, as I mentioned, we lost some greats today. So I also wanted to give you guys a chance if you want to pay tributes. I know John Madden, somebody that a lot of us got into the football world because of him, that voice and what he did for football. So, I mean, it was just hard. And then also, of course, Betty White. I think it was just a rough week for so many of us. Also, again, I wanted to give you guys a space if there was anything that you wanted to say on some of the icons that we lost.
Yeah, it's tough not to repeat what's already been said, particularly when it comes to John Madden. But essentially, the voice of my childhood when it comes to football. Like, that was the voice I heard over the air. That's the voice I heard when I fell in love with football. Obviously, there's the legacy with the video games, the legacy of him as a coach. But, for my age bracket, he was the voice of football. And it was like when you heard his voice, you knew it was football. It was an exciting time. And I got a chance to watch the Madden documentary, All Madden, over the weekend again. And it takes, if you already watched it or when it first came out, watch it again. It takes on a whole different meaning now that John Madden has passed. And I think it's a little bit more impactful even than it was when it first aired. So give that a look if you haven't had a chance already.
Completely agree, Jaime. I watched that teary-eyed, and like you said, just so many good tidbits in that documentary. So
Especially
I was glad that it was being replayed.
The ending hits different. Obviously, it's unfortunate circumstances, but the ending absolutely hits different now than if you watch it when it first came out.
Completely agree. And like you said, I'm so glad they re-aired that because, again, just so many powerful pieces in that. And like you said, John Madden, I mean, it was a voice that brought many of us into football. And like you said, so many of us grew up with Madden as well in our age bracket. Thank you, fellas, for also making me not feel so old. Talking to some of the young folks, I'm like, geez, I am older now. But Brentley, what about you? Any memories that you'd like to reflect on as we remember and pay tribute to those that we lost?
Yeah, it was a tough week. My mom's a diehard Raider fan, so she's always talked about John Madden as the coach and kind of the legacy that he left with the silver and black. And, his personality was just so upbeat, just made you, feel the way that you probably never thought you'd feel when it came to football and when it came to the game. And, it's sad that he's gone, but he's not really gone. We're still going to talk about him.
Yeah.
His lasting impact is going to be, here with us forever, so, I think that's something we can all strive for, is to leave an impact like John Madden, so again, tough week, but he's still around.
Completely agree. His spirit will forever live on. And of course, we know all the NFL teams today will be paying tribute to his memory with a moment of silence after the national anthem. But again, just some greats that we lost. May they forever rest in peace. And with that, fellas, let's get into today's games. Lots of great matchups, as we mentioned. So our first game, we've got the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Green Bay Packers. And what is shaping up to be one of the coldest Packers versus Vikings matchups ever at Lambeau Field, with single-digit temperatures expected for kickoff. The Minnesota Vikings will be without quarterback Kirk Cousins, who was added to the COVID-19 reserve list on Friday. Minnesota and Green Bay meet today in a game that opened up with the Packers as 6.5-point favorites. When Kirk Cousins was ruled out, that number grew to 13 for the Packers. The total went from 48 to 42.5. Vikings enter this game knowing win helps to keep them alive in the NFC wildcard chase. And what a wildcard chase that has been. It will be quarterback Sean Mannion under center today. Green Bay is coming off their worst game of the season, defending the run last week against the Cleveland Browns, allowing 218 rushing yards. Not a stat that you want to put up. And also, Vikings tight end Tyler Conklin was listed as questionable due to a hamstring injury, but he is expected to play. Vikings defensive tackle Michael Paris has been downgraded to out. All that to say, Jamie, what are you thinking about in this game? What do you like?
So once the Kirk Cousins news kind of came down, I like the Packers anyway, but I messaged our producer behind the scenes, Chris Schubert and Henry, and I said, look, just Packers minus whatever this line comes back up to be, and it ends up settling right here around 13. Look, the Packers are fighting for home field advantage. They don't want to have to leave Lambeau to the extent of the postseason. I just don't know how the Vikings are going to score points in this game. Yes, Dalvin Cook is going to be there. They're going to try to pound the rock. But if Aaron Rodgers and company get up a couple touchdowns here, you're just not going to be able to pound Dalvin Cook 23, 24, 25 times when you're down multiple scores in this game. Sean Mannion is a guy, but nothing special there. Obviously, Adam Thielen is out as well. It's just going to be really tough for Minnesota to be highly competitive in this game. They're going to have to hope, I guess, they win the coin toss, receive, try to run Dalvin Cook, and try to keep this game within 7-8 points throughout, because if the Packers get up a couple scores, this game is going to be run away. Packers have every reason to want to run away with this game. 12-0 in the last 12 regular season home games at Lambeau. It's been a while since we've seen them lose there. They're 9-1 as favorites in their last 10, 7-1 against the spread in their last 8. Give me the Packers to cover this less than 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think you covered so many great points, Jamie. Like you said, it's hard to bet against Green Bay in a game like this. And also, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, who many is saying might be or should be worthy of MVP consideration. So again, this Green Bay Packers team, it just seems like everything's going right for them at the right time. And of course, what we know is on the line. These next games will matter, as people want that away game, right? That first week as we look into the playoffs. All right. So with that being said, Brentley, what are you liking in this matchup?
I'm going with Jamie. I got the Packers minus 13 here. Look, without Kirk Cousins, the Vikings are going to want to run the ball and play good defense. The issue is the Vikings don't have a good defense. Over the last 5 games, they've given up 28 or more points. They simply haven't been effective stopping opposing offenses. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers, as you mentioned, Kelsey, is playing at an MVP level. I mean, Devontae Adams, those guys, I mean, they're sensational right now. And then at home, as Jamie mentioned, they can't be beat. They're 12-0 on the year, their last 12 games. So I think I like that trend to continue. The one thing that does give me pause is we have seen over the back-to-back weeks, the Packers get up big and then give up big leads. I think that changes today because the Vikings aren't going to be able to move the ball through the air. But that is a reason, a cause for concern. But I do feel good about Packers covering minus 13.
All right. Thank you, Brentley. And again, lots of pressure on this backup quarterback. Only a couple of NFL starts. And then lo and behold, you have to do this against the Green Bay Packers. Yes, folks, this is reason that sometimes life just isn't fair. This is a perfect example. Sometimes life just isn't fair. So I don't know if we'll see Vikings Nation scolding today. I just don't know if we'll see it. For my pick in this matchup, as we talked about, Kirk Cousins not playing and testing positive for COVID is a big thing, folks. And of course, we know about him being unvaccinated. The Vikings did upset the Packers earlier this season, but I just don't think that will be the case this week. So also give me Packers minus 13 for my pick in this matchup. But again, this one, I think it's changed without Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, we don't like that. We don't like you not playing in this one, all right? It changed a lot of folks' opinions in this game. All right, fellas, let's head to the next matchup. We've got the Miami Dolphins taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Titans host the Red Hot Dolphins as 3-point home favorites. The total in this game is 41. Titans enter this match after defeating the San Francisco 49ers 20-17. Tennessee has went 3-3 over their past 6 games, and they are primed to clinch a playoff spot with a win. However, they will have their hands full facing a quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa that has the league's #1 pass completion percentage, helping Miami win 7 straight games after starting 1-7. Talk about a complete turnaround on a season. With the win, the Titans, of course, can clinch their 2nd straight AFC South title. So that's on the line. But also, Ryan Tannehill will become the franchise's winningest quarterback in his first 3 seasons with the team. Even saying that, I think about how tides have turned. Because I remember when he first got there, everyone's like, oh, we just don't know about Ryan Tannehill, if he can be that guy. But here we are, history on the line. Brentley, let's start with you on this one. What are your thoughts in this game?
First off, I think this game is one of the most fascinating games of the weekend. Talk about huge playoff implications. Right now, the Dolphins, I think, are the 7th seed. And they obviously need to keep winning to secure their playoff spot. And then the Titans can win the division with the win today. So my eyes will be watching this game. But all that being said, I like the under here, under 41. The Titans under has hit 4 out of the last 5 games. The Dolphins under has hit 4 of their last road games. So I like that trend to continue. The Dolphins offense is like the ultimate dink and dunk offense. They never stretch the ball down the field. It takes so long for them to score. And meanwhile, their offensive line is terrible. That all being said, with the Titans defensive line, with Jeffrey Simmons, Harold Landry, Bud Dupree, I have a hard time seeing Miami scoring any points. On the Titans side, they're A.J. Brown or bust. That's essentially all they can do is pass to A.J. Brown, and the Dolphins have 2 good corners. So I just think these are both bad offenses going against bad defenses, so it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah, A.J. Brown will definitely be tested. And it's still crazy to me to think that we're talking about the Miami Dolphins right now and playoff implications, as I mentioned, after how they started this season. Like, who would have thought we would have been here? But you know what? Don't call it a setback. Call it a comeback. Jamie, what do you like in this game?
So this has been there's been a little bit of behind the scenes, like head banging here at TDN, because Justin Mello, who is on our writing staff, is a humongous Titans fan. Our lead scout, Kyle Krabs, is a humongous Dolphins fan. So I've been kind of stoking the flames and kind of poking each of them throughout the week. So this is going to be a very interesting Monday meeting, regardless of whatever this outcome is going to be. But I'm going to go along the same lines as Brentley here, and I'm going to take the Titans team total under 22.5. And if we look at the last 7 weeks, obviously from Miami's standpoint, they've been phenomenal, particularly on defense, allowing only 11.7 points per game on average over the last 7. It would be 6-1 to holding teams under this 22.5 mark. But Tennessee's offense has been a little bit shaky as well. They're averaging less than 19 points per game and would be 5-2 to this under in their last 7 as well. No Julio Jones. Derrick Henry is practicing but not back on the field yet for this game. I think I agree with Brentley. This is going to be a low-scoring game, and I think the Titans are going to be under 22.5 points.
All right. Thank you so much, Jamie. And it's good to hear that we have some real Titans fans. Because if you guys saw the news, Logan Ryan now is saying, hey, no disrespect, after saying the Titans have a non-existent fan base.
Respectfully.
I mean, drops the mic. I don't even know what to say after that. But again, look, we have real Titans fans. Jamie just proved that, all right? They exist, I promise, folks. And if you've been to Nashville, you can go see them. For my pick in this game, congrats, all right? Congrats to the Miami Dolphins for turning their season around. I do definitely think that deserves some applause. They should be proud. But as bettors, we should not be fooled, all right? We just can't be fooled. No fool's gold here. Miami has feasted on the bottom feeders of the NFL, all right? On their 7-game winning streak, they have only beaten 1 team with a winning record, all right? I have to look at that. The Titans, on the other hand, of course, have home wins over the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Colts. that matters. Very good teams. So give me Titans -3 for my pick in this matchup for this game. All right, guys, let's head to another game happening in my neck of the woods. Lots of eyes will be on this one. Los Angeles Rams versus the Baltimore Ravens. The Rams travel east to face Ravens as 6.5-point road favorites. The total is 46.5. Baltimore Ravens facing the Los Angeles Rams in the first of their two-game homestand to close out the regular season. The Ravens will have their hands full as they are shorthanded secondary. Will be out with top cornerback Anthony Averett. Ravens will also be without Lamar Jackson. That news just got announced before the show started. So that means we get more Snoop Huntley, which I don't think anybody's mad at. We like what we've seen from him so far. The Ravens, of course, facing off against veteran quarterback Matthew Stafford, who ranks second in the league in touchdown passes, third in passer rating, and fourth in passing yards, though he has been known to have some turnovers that he'd love to have back. The Rams are also averaging nearly 30 points a game and over 275 yards through the air per game. Talk about an explosive offense. The Ravens are tied for the second fewest interceptions in the league through 16 weeks, which is 6 on the year. All that to say, Jamie, give me your thoughts on this matchup.
Well, that sets me up pretty well here. I'm going to take the Rams -6.5 as this line continues to grow. To me, I feel like the only way that the Rams lose this game is if the Rams beat themselves. And we have seen Matthew Stafford kind of oscillate between some mind-numbingly awesome plays and some mind-numbingly terrible plays. And I just don't know if Baltimore's defense, as the guys that they're actually going to throw out there for this game, are going to be talented enough to force enough mistakes from Matthew Stafford in order for them to win this game. I expect the Rams to run the ball very effectively. I don't know who's going to cover Cooper Kupp or Odell Beckham Jr. or Van Jefferson on these teams. Like, pick your poison when it comes to this Rams passing game. I think Huntley's going to play fairly well, but this is going to be a really tough test for him. I don't think we're going to see the same type of game that we saw from him the last time he was out there. The Rams need to win this game. They have a clear path now to winning their division. They need to be able to put this game away and win this game by a touchdown or more. I just think they have more talent. I'm going to take them to win this game and cover the 6.5 points.
Yeah, Baltimore, again, it's been a series of unfortunate events. They just keep losing guys left and right. And the team that you think it can't get no worse, well, guess what, folks? It gets worse for them. No joke. I saw a fan in Baltimore with a magnifying glass trying to figure out just who was going to play in this game. They're like, I don't know anybody anymore, Kelsey. So this is how things have gotten for the Baltimore Ravens. Lots of adversity that they're trying to overcome. Brentley, who do you like in this matchup?
I'm going to go the opposite way of Jamie on this one. And I think this is your classic buy low on the Ravens in terms of betting. Look, I mean, John Harbaugh as an underdog is sensational. They're 9-1 against the spread over the last 10 games as underdogs. And I'm getting Harbaugh as a home underdog. I like my odds. And the Ravens are getting some of their players back on defense who they were missing last week. I know everyone's kind of feeling bad about the Ravens after their butt kicking they got from the Bengals, but the Bengals match up really, really well against the Ravens in terms of Joe Burrow's outstanding at defeating man coverage and going against the blitz. Stafford, meanwhile, isn't like that in terms of defeating man coverage and beating the blitz. That's where he struggles. And as Jamie mentioned, Stafford, for as good as he's been this year, is always good for a pick or two. And I think we're going to see that today. You never know what Stafford you're going to get, especially on the road. I think the Ravens can do enough to at least hang in here and keep it within a touchdown.
Yeah, they better hang in there because after last week, there's a lot of bruised egos amongst the fans and amongst the players because all they've heard about all week is what Joe Burrow and the Bengals did. And you talk about that defense. Wink Martindale, his team will be tasked with a heavy, heavy load. So we'll truly see what the Ravens defense is able to do. For my pick in this matchup, look, the Ravens are trying to snap a 4-game losing streak this week versus the Rams. Crazy to even say that with how the Ravens started, but we know how things have turned. I talked about Lamar Jackson being rolled out. Jamie mentioned it. It makes a difference who's playing quarterback in the purple and black. The Rams, of course, are 5-2 on the money line as road favorites this season. They are 3-4 against the spread as road favorites. The Rams are 4-2-1 to the over as road favorites. All that to say, give me the over in this one, 46.5 for my pick in this matchup. But this is definitely a game I think at the beginning of the season, many of us were more looking forward to before we saw how COVID and injuries have impacted teams in the NFL throughout this entire season. All right, enough melancholy mode. I need to get happy again. All right, so let's head to our next matchup. Let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. We've got a pair of teams that should be headed to the AFC playoffs. They meet in one of the marquee matchups for Week 17. The Bengals play another showdown game this week when when they face off against the surging Kansas City Chiefs. The defending AFC champions enter this game with a record of 11-4, clinching their 6th consecutive AFC West championship. The Bengals lead the AFC North with a 9-6 record and can clinch a division title with a victory today. The Chiefs right now are 3.5-point favorites on the road, and the total is 51. Many are looking at this game and two great quarterbacks, but also that AFC North division, it just seems like the one that keeps giving you that scratcher mode. So can Cincinnati just close it out today and just, put our minds at ease, put our minds at rest? So Brentley, I will start with you on this one. Who do you like?
Well, I like Kansas City. And let me just start by saying, I like Cincinnati. I bet on them before the year to, I think it was over 6.5 wins. That hit, so shout out Joe Burrow. But I think this team is getting heavily overvalued today. And obviously, after the way they played against the Ravens last week, that makes sense. But as we all alluded to, the Ravens were literally playing with 4-stringers. So I think the Bengals are getting a little too much love out here in the market. Kansas City, look, they've been here before. Andy Reid, Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelsey, who they're getting back. They've won these games, these kind of big conference games, time and time again. This is Joe Burrow's first real shot at a game that's going to be heavily viewed, high impact, that can win the division. Let's see what he can do. I just don't think, in terms of betting, how I can go against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in this spot. Real quick, one thing. Travis Kelsey, as I mentioned, who's coming back, is going to light this defense up. This defense is giving up the 3rd most yards for tight ends over this whole season. They got shredded by Mark Andrews. They got shredded by George Kittle. They're going to get shredded by Travis Kelsey today. I don't think this game's going to be as competitive as we've talked about. I think Kansas City's going to win big.
All right. Thank you so much, Brentley. And look, Travis Kelsey, he deserves some happiness after what happened to Cincinnati. All right. We got to put a smile on his face. Jamie, who do you like in this matchup?
So, Brentley makes a pretty convincing argument here, and I've gone back and forth all week about which way I wanted to bet on the Chiefs. I ended up settling on just going with their money line here. I'll just take the coward's way out. I do think the Bengals are going to be competitive in this game. I don't think they're going to win this football game, but the 3 in the hook just scares me a little bit. I do think this could easily be a one-possession game, even if it's like a late backdoor cover from Joe Burrow and company to do that. But to me, I feel pretty confident in the Chiefs. They're 8-0 as favorites in their last 8, 15-2 in their last 17 on the road. And this Bengals team, aside from last week, has really struggled to string together 2, 3, 4 consecutive against the spread victories. So to me, I'm going to go Kansas City here. If you want to buy it down to like -2.5 or something, or -3, that's perfectly fine with me. But I was a little worried about the hook here, but I'm just going to take the Kansas City money line.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. And who knows, if Joe Burrow has a big game today, fellas, is he playing like he does deserve that gold jacket? Will Meek Martindale have to even further backtrack his comments? I guess only time will tell. But truly, Joe Burrow, you have to give him credit again. When you think about where he was a year ago and that injury and what he's doing now, we're talking about him as one of the top quarterbacks, and he's begun to take over that AFC North, a division that has many good quarterbacks. He deserves lots of respect. So who dey, right? Who dey for the Bengals? We'll see what happens. All right, for my pick in this game, as we've been discussing, the Chiefs riding into Cincinnati on an 8-game winning streak. You have to take that into consideration. They have also covered the spread in each of their last 6 games, so also thinking about that. The Bengals, of course, are coming off a statement win over the Ravens, but as Brentley mentioned, against that defense, I don't know how much we can really look into that, but the Bengals are riding high, so I will give them some credit, but I expect that to change this week. The Bengals are 3-5 against the spread at home this season. Their home wins have come versus a hobbled Ravens team that we've been talking about, and the offensively challenged Steelers and the Vikings in week 1. All right, so looking at all that to say, this week they get Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. What a powerful combination. Give me Chiefs at -3.5 for my pick in this matchup for this game. Look at us all. I like this. I like it when we all kind of look alike. We need to do this more, fellas. He's starting 2022 off on the right foot. All right, let's head to our next matchup. We've got the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Dallas Cowboys. The struggling Arizona Cardinals are in Dallas today to face the streaking Cowboys. Dak Prescott and company have won 4 straight, with their most recent win a beatdown of their NFC East rival, the Washington football team. Cardinals view James Conner as a game-time decision, but there's optimism that he will play. The Cardinals will not have Marcus Golden, who remains on the COVID list, and Devon Kennard, 2 of the team's top 3 outside linebackers. All that to say, Dallas is a 6.5-point favorite at home, and the total is 52 in this matchup. Let's start with you on this one, Jamie, for your thoughts in this game.
Yeah, it's interesting. The Cardinals are a very big, for lack of a better phrase, public play today. And I kind of get it. People are looking at the record. They're looking at what the Cardinals have done, and they're seeing, oh, wow, I'm getting almost a full touchdown here. I like it. I don't. The Cardinals, as you mentioned, are down a couple of players in their linebacking core. They're down their top 2 corners as well. Quite frankly, they're not playing good football right now, which has been a staple of Cliff Kingsbury's second halves throughout his coaching career. I need to see more from this Arizona team before I say they're going to go on the road against another quality opponent and win this football game. Give me Dallas to cover the 6.5 points here. They're 7-2 in the last 9 against the spread at home, 5-1 as favorites. And I love the way Zeke's been playing lately. Looks like he's finally healthy. Dak looked a little bit better. To me, you look at the way both these teams are playing, and you look at who's actually going to be out there for both of these teams. And I think Dallas has a significant advantage, particularly at home. Give me them to win and cover.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. Yeah, I feel like every time I get high on the Cardinals, something happens. I think a good analogy, they're that person that you start dating and everything's good at first, and then all of a sudden you start to see the flaws, and you're just thinking, can I do a long-term relationship? Brentley, long-term relationship with the Cardinals, Cowboys. What are your thoughts in this matchup?
Oh, I am dumping the Cardinals. Death taxes, fade Cliff Kingsbury in December. I am going with the Cowboys here. Even going back to last year, the Cardinals were 6-3, and then ended up losing 5 of the last 5 games, missing the playoffs. And already this year, 3 consecutive ugly losses. I think that continues today. As Jamie mentioned, they're out 2 of their best starting corners, going up against CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and Michael Gallup. I don't think that's a good recipe for success. I think the Cardinals' losing streak continues, and they're in real trouble. I mean, I know they're probably still sitting pretty in terms of making the playoffs, but they look like a one-and-done team to me, and that's crazy to say considering just a month ago they were the best team in the NFC.
Yeah, boy, have tides turned. And for my pick in this matchup, hey, Washington football team fans, remember I'm making these picks as a bettor, all right? And this is not from the heart. So remember that before I say my pick. I don't want any hate coming in my mentions. All right, as we talked about, the Cardinals come into this week's marquee matchup. They've been struggling. There's no other way to put it. The Cardinals have lost 3 games in a row and 4 of their last 6 games. Not a pretty thing you want to put out there. The Cowboys right now are rolling high, beating up on bad teams, though. We got to be honest. All that to say, though, we saw the Cardinals fade down the stretch last season. It looks like it's happening again, folks, as we've been mentioning. So also give me Cowboys at -6.5 for my pick in this matchup. And Cardinals, no real hate here. We're just looking at the facts, all right? We wanted to believe, and then you guys, well, I don't know. You guys are showing us you're just maybe pretenders instead of contenders. If you want to make us wrong, then hey, win the game. Make us wrong. Make us look bad. All right, fellas, that's a wrap for our top game picks for this first Sunday in 2022. Feels so good to say that. But you all will want to stay tuned out there watching, because more of the Money Down is next as we're coming to you all with our parlays. Stay tuned.
This one's coming to you. Jameson Williams being wide receiver 1 is a very big deal because Chris Olave has held this post for us going back to the summer. Jameson Williams, a former teammate of Chris Olave before transferring to Alabama, as if they don't already have enough wide receiver talent there in Columbus. So Jameson Williams, talk about his impact for this Alabama passing offense, especially now that John Mechie's not going to be playing in the college football playoff.
Right. I think his impact is unmatched. You're talking about a wide receiver core that didn't have much experience coming into the season, and they were looking for that number 1 guy. And I think from game 1, Jameson Williams stepped up and he fit the bill. This is an explosive guy that can take the top off of any defense. He's great at running intermediate and short routes, securing the passes, and he's a true threat with the ball in his hands. So he's a guy that you can throw screens to, and he can take it 80, 90 yards to the house. He has great start ability, short area quickness. He can make defenders miss in space. He's just a great player overall. So I think that this guy was able to accelerate to the number 1 number one wide receiver position because he has all of those traits. And we're used to Alabama having top wide receivers. We were just trying to see who was it going to be this year. Was it Jameson Williams or John Mechie? But credit to Jameson Williams. I think he stepped up. He wanted to be the number one guy, and he showed why he is the number one guy throughout the season. I think you see him against Georgia. He made top plays that changed the game, and you really seen the Georgia defense struggle to corral him and keep him under wraps, and was a big reason why Alabama was able to blow the doors off of that Georgia's defense.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back into the Money Down NFL show. Thank you so much for staying with us. We truly appreciate you all. This week, Brentley, Jamie, and I are once again building parlays. Once again, for those of you new to betting, a parlay is when you bet multiple events on the same ticket. All of the wagers must win for the ticket to cash. And talking about tickets cashing, let's start with you on this one, Brentley. Let's see what you got for your parlay.
Okay, so my first game from my parlay, I'm going with the Chiefs -3.5 at the Bengals. As I mentioned, I just think Joe Burrow and co are going to be overmatched going up against Andy Reid, Mahomes, and then the Chiefs defense, which is playing lights out over the past 6 weeks. So like the Chiefs to cover there. Bears money line at home against the Giants. Mike Glennon, Joe Judge, need I say more? I definitely got to go with the Bears, who over the past couple of weeks have been playing pretty inspired. You know, I think they know Nagy's going to get fired, so the team has showed some heart, which I appreciate. And then Las Vegas, Indianapolis, going with the under 46 here. I think both of these teams in a perfect world would want to run the ball and keep this a low-scoring game, kind of let their defenses battle it out, and I think that's exactly what we see today. So nice little plus 386 on these odds. I like this parlay quite a bit.
All right. Thank you, Brentley. And you know I'm rooting for you because I know you didn't have the best weekend with the bowl games, Brentley. So I am positively rooting for. I didn't want to bring it up, Brentley, but I want you to win. I have this.
That's in 2021. That's already in the. That's so last year. Come on.
All right, he's still in good spirits. By the way, shout out to my Maryland Terrapins for looking like that team winning that bowl game. You guys know I had to shout them out. We need some pride and joy with Maryland football. All right, Jamie, let's go to you. What does your parlay look like?
Yes, I'd have a little bit of fun today with an alternate line AFC East based parlay here. So I kind of messed with all the lines here. Still got us a little bit over 3-1 return here. Bills -7.5 versus Atlanta. Patriots -7.5 at Jacksonville. I think those are two games where there's a significant talent disparity between both sides there. So I love getting those two teams there. I think Dolphins-Titans, as we mentioned, is a low-scoring, close game. So being able to get the Dolphins up over a full touchdown here is really nice. And the Jets here, they are going to play today. But 17.5 is enough points to at least make me feel confident, given all of the players that the Buccaneers are out. Bucs are going to win this game pretty easily, but I don't think they're necessarily going to win by more than 17. So had a fun little AFC East parlay here for everybody that pays a little bit more than 3-1 return.
I love that the nicest thing you could say about the Jets is that they are going to play today. I think that we've reached a new level with the Jets. Like, they're going to play today. I guess that's what you just have to say. So I don't know, Jets fans. I don't know. You guys might not be happy today. But nonetheless, hopefully you guys win some money on some parlays. Let me go to my parlay picks. We will bring them up on the screen. And for my picks, I'm looking at first Titans money line. Look, for my parlay, I have to start with the Titans money line because, as we talked about earlier, despite the Dolphins winning streak, I think the Titans are the better team, and I like them to win on the money line today. Then we got to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. I also like them for the second leg of my parlay, taking them on the money line. Like I mentioned earlier, the Bengals, they just have not been great at home versus good teams. And yeah, the Chiefs are a pretty good team. Matter of fact, a very good team. So I'm going with Patrick Mahomes and the defending AFC champs. Next, I have Buccaneers minus 14. Buccaneers basically, look, I mean, we've been talking about it. Despite being beat up, they should cover the number. Tampa is 6-1 against the spread as double-digit favorites this season. So, I mean, it talks for itself. But again, right now, feeling pretty good. I feel like we're all smiles going into this week with our picks. So, see, Brentley, don't think about last year. Like you said, think about this year. And this year, we're going to speak it into existence. We're starting strong. And I feel like I talked to Brentley about the bowl games. Jamie, did you also enjoy the bowl games this week?
I enjoyed yesterday's bowl games. I did not enjoy the December 31st bowl game. So new year, new me, new wins. So 2022 has been good so far. Let's not talk about December 31st.
There we go. Fingers crossed. 2022, be good to us. Be good to us. We've been good to you. That will do it for this parlay segment. We hope you all continue to stay locked into the Draft Network because more of the Money Down is next.
But I wanted to talk about a guy who's kind of the polar opposite of Carson Strong, and his offense is the polar opposite in the fact that there's no easy throw, or it's the same in that there's no easy throws for Malik Willis in Liberty, who I just finished watching this weekend. And I wish his offense would have given him some easy throws to work with, because so many times in Liberty, they're trying to run guys down the field and really relying on Malik Willis's athletic ability, which is his strongest trait by far, to create plays for him. And for every play that makes your jaw drop, there's another play in which you just really wish you would have seen or anticipated free runners in the secondary and guys open downfield and keeping his eyes downfield, or some inexplicable misses. But this is a guy I'm going to have a really hard time getting all the way out on, because he does have the tools and the traits. And we've seen quarterback environment is a very, very important piece of the puzzle. And I think about what Trey Lance showed before he got drafted number 3 overall last year. And I think about Jordan Love at Utah State and him still managing to be a first-round pick to the Green Bay Packers. And we don't really know how that story is ending out yet, but I do appreciate the fact that he's a guy who hasn't been rushed into playing and has gotten the chance to mature at the pro game behind Aaron Rodgers. And I think if you could take Malik Willis and you can put him in an environment like that, where there's no pressure to start early, it's going to be really fascinating to see what his end result is, because it's so blatantly obvious. Kenny Pickett had the best season, right? Carson Strong might be the most advanced mentally. Malik Willis is the most physically gifted out of all these guys. It's just a question of being able to put it together. And it's really hard to value him as a player. So
Hello, everyone, and welcome back into the Money Down NFL show, where we will now turn our attention to this week's leaderboard after week 16 of football action. Fellas, I hope you're ready as we bring the leaderboard up to see how we did. Ooh, all right. So some of us are happy, maybe some of us not so happy, but I think me and Jamie are smiles right now. Right, Jamie? Good week of
look, as Confucius once said, you can't go broke making a profit. And that's how I'm going to take my 0.07 units as making a profit.
I love it. I like that quote. I'm going to steal that, Jamie. I love that quote. So like you said, we're happy folks right now. And Brentley, as you said, new year, new you, new bets.
It's a new year. No L's in 2022. So I'm not even phased.
That's going to be the motto for 2022. No L's all 2022. All right. You heard it here first, folks. So that means we're putting you in good hands. We're giving you positive vibes, positive cheers in the air. All right. It's going to be positive for all of us, fellas. I'm claiming it. All right. Let's head to our go for two picks. I'm going to start with you on this one, Brentley. All right. I'm feeling the comeback. It's comeback season. 2022 is going to be good to you. So let's get your first go for two pick.
Yeah, comeback season. That's exactly why I went with this game. I'm going with the Chargers -8 against the Denver Broncos, and they need a comeback. They lost on the road to the Texans last week in a game in which they needed to win, and simply they got beat down. I mean, they made Rex Burkhead look like Jim Brown the way he was running the ball, and so I think they need to look in the mirror and bounce back in a big way against a divisional opponent that is simply decimated with COVID right now. They're out without Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy, Bradley Chubb, and a host of other starters. So I think the Chargers have enough talent on offense and on defense to bounce back against a decimated Broncos roster in a must-win game for the Chargers. So I like a bounce back opportunity here.
Thank you, Brentley. Yeah, the Broncos right now, just COVID-19 is not being their friend. I think about right now, 14 players on that list. And that can impact a football team, right? You're losing starters and big names, and you're trying to get things going. So I think it will be a heavy slate ahead for them. Jamie, what's your first go for two pick?
I'm going to go a little bit of a rookie theme here with my go for twos. And the first one is going to be Jalen Waddle over 6.5 receptions. Since week 6, he's averaging 7.7 catches per game. He'd be 7-2 to this number in his last 9. As Brentley mentioned earlier, a lot of short passing for Miami. I expect Jalen Waddle to continue to be a heavy recipient of those catches. I love him to get over this total here.
All right. Thank you so much, Jamie. And for my first go for two pick, I'm looking at that Houston Texans versus San Francisco 49ers game. Lots of conversation around this one, as of course, it's a good chance. It looks like Trey Lance will be starting for the 49ers this week with Jimmy G dealing with that thumb injury. And now we're talking about surgery that awaits Jimmy G after the season. So all that to say, the Texans have covered 3 of their last 4 games as double-digit dogs. So give me Texans plus 13 for my first go for two pick. All right, fellas, let's head to our next go for two picks. I'll start with you on this one, Jamie.
Yep, another rookie here, another rookie wide receiver. Give me the over on Amon-Ra St. Brown receiving yards, over 60.5 here. He has hit over this total in each of the last 4 games. More importantly, and by the way, he's averaging 85 yards in that span, but maybe more importantly is the amount of targets he's getting, whether it's from Jared Goff, whether it's from Tim Boyle, who will be starting today. 11.5 targets per game he's averaged over the past month. They have some Lions have some players that are going to be out as well as for pass catching. So even with DeAndre Swift back, I still expect Amon-Ra St. Brown to be a heavily targeted wide receiver today and to go over this total for the Lions.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the targets will definitely be there. Brentley, give me your next go for two pick.
I'm going to the Kansas City-Cincinnati game with Travis Kelsey over 65.5 receiving yards. He's averaging on the season 71.1 yards per game. But then, as I mentioned before earlier in the show, Cincinnati is terrible at defending tight ends. They allowed Mark Andrews to go. I think he had 10 for 125 last week. 2 weeks before that, George Kittle had 8 for 150. I mean, this defense has been getting shredded by some of the top-tier tight ends. And Travis Kelsey's still the best tight end in the game. And in a big game like we have today, I think Mahomes is going to look at him early. He's going to look at him often. And Kelsey's going to be open. So I love this here. I think Kelsey goes over 100 today.
Yeah, when you have a name like Kelsey anywhere in your name, I think greatness kind of follows, Brentley. I'm just saying, folks. I'm just saying. I think facts are facts. And talking about Travis Kelsey, I know this will be a big game for him because what is it? Just 53 receiving yards to reach 9,000 for his career. So I think he definitely gets that big day for him. He plays good. He dresses good. I don't know if you guys see the way he be styling going to the game. So I don't know. I just feel like it's all happiness right now for Travis Kelsey being back. For my second go for two pick, I'm looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game versus the New York Jets. The Jets host the Buccaneers in a late season matchup in front of a likely might be empty MetLife Stadium. Tampa is 6-1 against the spread as double-digit favorites this season. Give me Buccaneers minus 14 for my pick. in this matchup. All right. So looking at this game, and yeah, we'll see what happens in all of these games today. Honestly, I'm just really excited, fellas. As you guys said, lots of great matchups. And with lots of great matchups, I want to see these bold bets. I want to see just how bold you got in 2022. Are we starting the year strong? Brentley, let's start with you on this one.
I'm going to go with the Texans with the upset on the road against the 49ers. I'm taking Texans money line. Trey Lance is starting, and we simply have zero idea what it's going to look like. Is he going to be good? Is he going to be terrible? We don't know. What I do know is Davis Mills looks pretty competent. I mean, he looked pretty good against the Chargers last week. Rex Burkhead, as I mentioned, had a hell of a game. I think they look to establish the run early with him. And then Brandon Cooks. The 49ers secondary is not going to be able to cover Brandon Cooks. I think he has a huge game. I think the Texans could surprise some people today.
All right. That definitely would be a surprise. I think, as you said, Brentley, many will be watching that game to see what they can do. But as we talk about Trey Lance, we're talking about backup quarterbacks. Lots of conversation now with quarterbacks and the future. Jimmy G has been one of those. I talked about Big Ben maybe no longer being in Pittsburgh, and some saying what's next for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, hey, lots of quarterbacks going to be probably looked at this week to see where they could possibly land. We're thinking about Tyler Huntley in Baltimore. So, again, lots of eyes on some of these backups getting the start today. Jamie, give me your bold bet.
Call me a sucker for the narrative, but give me the Steelers to win at home in what is likely to be Ben Roethlisberger's last game at Heinz Field. And look, it's more than just a narrative here. The Browns aren't playing a particularly strong brand of football right now. Baker Mayfield's been terrible lately. Look, if Ben's going to get back up for one of these games, and he has been quite arguably one of the biggest, if not the biggest reasons why the Steelers have struggled this year, this is going to be the game for it. Yes, the Cleveland pass rushers are going to cause some problems for him, but I just don't trust Baker Mayfield right now and this Browns team on the road. The Steelers have a lot to play for in their own right and a lot of emotions for Ben Roethlisberger. So if he's going to get up for one last final big performance in prime time at Heinz Field, which has been the staple for Ben Roethlisberger over the years, I think this is going to be that one. Give me the Steelers to win in the upset on Monday Night Football.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe we might see the end of a road for the Big Ben era. We're all around the same age range. We're used to Big Ben. It's going to seem weird to not see him donning that black and gold. And wow. I think we saw it coming. I don't know if many saw it coming right now, but just wow. You talk about Baker Mayfield. A lot of people, I think, indecisive on Baker Mayfield. I think many more so trust Baker Mayfield to remember the lines in the commercials than they do on the football field. You just don't know what you might get from Baker Mayfield, folks. I don't know. I'm not sold on him yet either. For my bold bet, I'm taking the Falcons money line. I like Atlanta to upset the Bills. I do think the Bills are due for an upset, and I'm calling it this week. I know, again, many are riding high back on Buffalo. They finally seem like that team that we thought, but you know what? This is a bold bet, and I feel something. I feel something in 2022, and I'm trusting that feeling and that gut. So thank you, fellas, for the bold bet. That wraps up this segment, but stay tuned because more of the Money Down NFL show is coming to you all after this quick commercial break. Stay tuned. All right. Well, I think maybe we're actually going to wrap it, fellas. So without that, then we won't do a commercial break. So we're going to thank everyone.
Unfortunately, no. Our friend Patrick is not on the show today. We found out he's a late scratch, late inactive list. But
we miss you, Patrick.
Yes, but I'm excited about all these games, everybody. This is going to be a fun, as we talked about at the start of the show, it's going to be a fun weekend of football, very impactful weekend of football for the playoff picture. And hopefully, I know a lot of people went out and celebrated, obviously, Christmas. Whether it's Christmas, Kwanzaa, New Year's, some money's been spent in these last couple of weeks. Hopefully you can win some of it back today with some of our picks.
No, we need to win it back, Jamie. Okay, we have to pay rent, all right? So we have to pay rent. All that to say, we hope to see you guys next week, 11:45 a.m. Eastern Time, the Money Down NFL show presented by BetPrep. Enjoy Week 17 of football. As always, please be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And again, enjoy football today. Lots of great matchups. We'll see you all next week. Have a great one. Bye, guys. Stay safe.